Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you a build guide for the Arcane Vanguard ICEQUIVER mod in Baldur's Gate 3. This mod was made by Saethos and it's an amazing mod. I love ice damage, you guys know, and this is the perfect combination because it's a spellcaster, a bow user, and you can infuse your arrows with Ray of Frost. This is fantastic. I just want to give a huge shout out to Saethos. They've done a great job with this mod, and they're also in my Discord, which links in the description if you want to join, and give them a big thanks because this mod is truly amazing. Now, the Ray of Frost arrow infusement basically infuses Ray of Frost into your bow attacks and will reduce their movement speed. We also get the Ice Knife and Creator Destroy Water spells, which, as you know, Creator Destroy Water is actually extremely useful. It can turn invisible creatures visible, it can double damage to cold and lightning spells, and you can create ice surfaces, which helps out with the Frostwalker subclass feature, which when we deal cold damage, we give ourselves the Frostwalk status until the end of our next turn. Very useful. For cantrips, we're obviously taking the cold ones for theming purposes, and this has Mistress spells compatibility, so highly recommend downloading that as well. And we're also going to take Lightning Lure. With the spells, I think Frostfingers just makes the most sense. Armor of Agathis to give yourself additional health, temporary health, and cold damage to attackers. And Command, which is nice because you can just command people to walk into your ice, making them slip and fall. This is great for crowd control because it doesn't require concentration. For the fighting style that we're going to take, there's quite a few of them, but I think that Echoing Malice is great. So whenever you do a ranged attack, the next time you deal spell with a deal damage with a spell or cantrip, you deal 2 to 8 force damage to them. And this is really nice. There's a lot of really good ones here, like increasing movement speed by 6, using your intelligence modifier for armor class. But I think that Echoing Malice just works great because we're going to be focusing on ranged weapons. And our ability scores 16 dex, 16 intelligence, 14 constitution, 10 wisdom, 10 charisma. Now, you can also use strength potions to really empower the Titan string bow, so that's a good weapon to choose for this build, but I'll be covering all gear options near the end of the video. At level 2, we get the Vanguard Stratagem. Use your intelligence modifier for weapon attack and damage rolls. We had to choose another spell, which I'm going to go with Thunder Wave for the pushback. Can be nice to make targets slip on ice as well, or push them off of ledges. And for the Vanguard Talents, the Liberate and spellcasting, basically, when you take out a creature, you give yourself a free level 1 spell, which is really nice. Focus Shatter, whenever you're concentrating on a weapon, you can break your concentration to deal additional damage. Arcanist Life Tether, so you can mark a target and your teammates will deal a 1 to 6 health points if they start the turn within 3 meters of it. However, this does use an action, so that's a little bit rough. And Arcane Transposition, you can make the target do a charisma saving throw or force them to switch places with you as a bonus action. I think that the Liberated Spellcasting is probably the best choice here, but we'll get some different Vanguard talents as we level up. At level 3, we get ourselves get a bonus to Persuasion checks equal to Intelligence modifier, and subclass feature Frozen Sentry. When standing on an ice surface, gain resistance to fire and cold damage and immunity to burning. And at the end of your turn on the ice surface, gain temporary health points equal to Intelligence modifier at the start of your next turn. We also get ourselves Misty Step, extremely useful. Gust of Wind, which is useful, but not as useful as Misty Step. And we did take some other spells, which Summon Moonblade can give yourself a Chilling Short Sword, which makes sense here. Snollix Snowball Storm, though, is a good choice for cold damage because we can deal and create ice surfaces with this. So that's what we're going to go with. Now, for level 4, we get ourselves another cantrip. You can go with the Gust one, or Shocking Grasp, or even Ray of Firebolt to explode things if you want. It's your choice there. And then for our next leveled spell, I would say that Fog Cloud is good because you can actually use this as a concentration to hide in. And then for our feat, ability score improved to take our intelligence for better spell casting and better weapon attack rolls. At level 5, we get ourselves the War Magic. As well, we get Sleet Storm and Grant Fly. For our level 3 spell, Haste is definitely the best choice here, but you can also go with Tidal Wave, because Tidal Wave will create water and knock targets prone. So you can create water with this and then hit them with a cold spell. Extremely strong. And then for our next turn, we'll take Haste. And for Vanguard's Stratagem, the follow-up giving a +3 to attack rolls when attacking after casting a spell or cantrip is extremely useful for landing your hits. But you can also restore 2 level 1 spell slots per short rest if you want. 2 great choices there. At level 7, we get ourselves the Vanguard Technique. After the Vanguard casts a spell or cantrip, they can make a weapon attack using a bonus action. And we also get Ice Storm. Obviously very powerful because it's more crowd control without having to set up our Create Water to make slippery surfaces. Now for level 4, there's some fun ones that we can choose here, especially Mistress Spell, like Firewall there is nice for a bit of crowd control. Volley of Arrows also fits thematically. Greater Invisibility is really good for just overall getting away from the enemy and giving disadvantage on attack rolls, so I'll go with that. Mirror image is also nice one you can go with, so you can go that route too if you'd like. Or even like counter spell, which stops a spell from being cast. That's really good to have. And for a level 8 feat, intelligence up to 20 just makes sense, so we'll go with that. At level 9 we get another subclass feature, the oncoming storm. So when you deal cold damage, you create an explosion around you, freezing the ground and potentially dealing 1 to 12 to cold damage to all targets. You also get mass cure wounds and cone of cold. Cone of cold, very powerful, you'll see. Very, very powerful. We get some more level spell choices, with hold monster being the top of the list for spells you should take, because this can make some of the fights in Act 3 so much easier. Once we get ourselves a level 10, we get ourselves another cantrip, so you can go with bonfire just to stay warm with the ice quiver. And fire step can be cool if you want it from mistress spells. Mirror image for increased armor class can also be nice. Again, Summon Moonblade is another good choice. And for our stratagem here, I think that Arcane Recovery is nice. 2 level 1 spell slots can be pretty useful. It's not like game changer by any means, but it can be pretty good. Vanguard's Protection can also be nice, reduce damage taken equal to your intelligence modifier for 5 turns. So that can be good for like -5, -6 to damage, which is really useful. We also at level 11 get Tactical Strikes. Once per turn when you attack with a weapon, you deal an additional 1 to 4 damage. And we get ourselves Wall of Ice, which is a fantastic spell. And Oluk's Freezing Sphere, which is another amazing spell. This is very, very strong, as you're going to see. And we get to choose. We got a lot of spells here that we can go with. Global Invulnerability is my personal choice, just because of how good that can be. And you also have Tensor's Transformation, which is nice. That can make you even more buff. It's a choice if you want to go that route. You can take it. It's not necessarily needed for this build because it stops you from casting spells. But Blade Barrier can also be good for crowd control. I guess we have Wall of Ice, so I'll take Tensor's Transformation. And for our final, I think Dexterity is nice to increase, but also going with Alert for +5 initiative works, or Savage Attacker. You can even go Crossbow Master if you want to focus on crossbows, but I think that the best weapons to choose are the Titan String Bow, which gives additional damage equal to Strength modifier, which can be big damage. I also like Gaunter Mail, which is always awesome. And Deadshot for increased critical hit chance. Hellrider Longbow for increased initiative can be good. Even the Fabricated Arbalest here, that's not a bad choice too. Now for our weapon, I think it's actually best to go with the Morning Frost. When dealing cold damage, you deal an additional 1 damage, and when dealing cold damage with a spell, possibly inflict chilled upon the target. That's good. This works very well here. And Hood of the Weave for the increased spell save DC, Cloak Protection, the Boots of Protection, because we don't need to worry about slipping on ice, and also the Ring of Protection, and Killer Sweetheart here. Winter's Crutches for the gloves, deal additional, whenever you deal cold damage, you can do 2 turns of Encrusted with Frost, which can potentially freeze the target. And for our armor, there's a few good choices. Depending on how close you'll be to the enemy, you could go with like not the armor of agility, the ballast armor here. So we can wear the ballast armor, give ourselves additional damage with piercing. But the Helldusk armor is probably the best choice if you're later on in the game. Even like the Robe of the Weave can be work really well too. So it's one of those 3 for armor works best. I'll just dye that to make it look a little more thematic. And now I'll show off what this can do in combat. We have a 27 armor class, and that's pretty strong. So I hasted myself, and in addition to this, we can also drop down a concentration like Global Invulnerability if we know we're going to deal a bunch of damage. But how we're going to go into things here, so we got our arrow infusements. Typically the best way to start off combat is with Create Water, but if you have damage, like Tidal Wave can also start combat pretty well and deal damage, so we'll do that to start things off. I hasted myself there with Gale. We didn't roll the highest initiative, but that's okay. We're just going to focus on the rolls that we got, and we'll roll the punches, but we can do a good amount of damage with this build because full damage can hit really hard. So they missed with us. We did a little psychic damage in return, and this actually puts us in proper positioning for our next turn, which we're going to drop down a Cone of Cold, which can be extremely devastating to the enemy. They're hitting us with volleys, but we have a pretty good armor class, so we can block it. And now we can start off with this because we're in a good position to hit multiple targets. So we'll start off with this to create an ice surface. Boom. And we have the liberated spell cast, and we can cast a cantrip as a reaction. We also have weapon attacks that we can roll with because we can bonus action attack after this. So we could go with our cold attacks. You can see here we're iced out, and we can also melee attack if we wanted to, but we'll just go with a bow attack here. Started things off nice and slow, and let's attack with that. That took them out. Perfect. That's exactly what we wanted. We don't have a reaction to be able to cast, but yeah, it's because I used my reaction earlier. But typically we would use our reaction to be able to deal a little extra damage. So that's nice. And we'll just end things off here. We can move into a little bit different place. We're immune to prone, so don't have to worry about slipping on it because we have the frost walk, and it also won't slow us down, which is crazy. So yeah, we took out a lot of enemies that first turn. That's the beauty of cold damage, because you can hit extremely hard. And then we also have wall of ice, which is another concentration that we can work with. We'll leave our concentration, or we'll leave our reaction there. I won't use charm on them, because the reaction being able to attack with that is pretty nice. They saved on the ice. Now you're going to see a lot of people slip and fall on the ice. That's typically the normal experience because it's just such a great crowd control. And whenever they get in close, that can be fine. We can counterspell that if we wanted to. I guess we'll just not. Want to relieve the reaction to be able to cast a spell with that. So we'll just wait for them to do their damage. And yeah, we got a lot of options because we have so many cold spells. And we also have protection spells like Globe of Invulnerability too. But crowd control is the name of the game. We got blade wall and wall of ice for different options to crowd control with. Even you could take the wall of fire there, which is another crowd control option. So pretty cool. We're also really iced out, and I think that that's awesome. Now we got two actions here. What we could actually do is just upcast command and make everyone walk towards us, and also then drop down like a we could drop down a wall of ice. So wall of ice being pretty crazy because whenever we do this, we can then we'll deal a little damage with it. So we'll create this wall of ice, which does a bunch of damage, and then we can upcast command approach and hit multiple targets with that. So we do have to move into line of sight. But what's nice about this is we'll just go with our command approach, and then we can hit how many targets? 1, 2, 3. We'll go with a third level command, and we'll hit them 80% chance, 85% chance. And I don't know if I'll have the range. No, targets out of sight. Might move a little higher in this and hope that we can hit them with it. I was going to try and run behind the wall too, but 96% chance, I guess. A higher chance the closer we are. Weird. And I guess we can hit them with it too. So command approach, perfect. And then we'll run behind the wall if possible. I guess we also have an action that we can use. So we can use our bow of ice attack, basically applying the ray of frost to our arrows. And you can see there it's got a cool animation too. So perfect. And then we can, I guess, follow it up with an extra attack if we want to use our bonus action. Or we can use Misty Step to go and hide over, I guess, can't really reach that. So we'll just use a bow attack. My ideal world would have been to run to get them to run into the ice. Oh, they blocked it. That's fine. And we'll just run back here. So perfect. They're going to come towards us and just slip on the ice. And eventually with a command, you can just literally tell them to walk towards you. They'll slip and then take damage from the ice wall. So it's pretty fun. It gets crazy. So we can drop Snowlix Snowball Storm here. We can upcast it for additional damage. Or we could drop Tidal Wave, which is, again, a really nice spell just to be able to create more ice surfaces. So we can blast that, create water. And then I guess we'll move up and hit with Cone of Cold to reapply ice into a larger area. So now they're covered in ice. And then we can just bow attack with our extra attack there and hopefully take them out. Boom, that worked. Perfect. So yeah, the ice quiver is extremely strong. I'm going to be doing different multi-classes of this in the future, and once level 20 compatibilities here, we'll be talking about that. But yeah, all of ice surfaces and command, that's the deadly combination of crowd control. You can do it all with this build. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit the subscribe button below. Again, shouts out to Saethos for the amazing work on this, and I hope you guys all have a great day.